Hey, have you heard there's an easier way to podcast?
No, what is it?
It's called Anchor.
Anchor? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's free. Let me explain. There's creation tools that gives you the ability to record plus edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will automatically distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more.
Oh, really?
Not just that. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. So if you're interested in doing a podcast, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
Hey, Mrs.
Hey, mister. Set up. It's always a freaking setup. So, what we're talking about today?
Submitting application.
Huh?
Submitting application.
Submitting an application?
Yeah, submitting an application.
For what? For what? A job?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because relationships are jobs. In a rarish, purish, intimacy-like form.
Oh, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
So my application is a couple of pages long.
Yeah, some folks
Still
have
adding questions to it.
Yeah, the resume is with some people resumes get
Some of these resumes are real dry out here in these streets.
Yeah. So we just finished up on the church service that we was watching yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And when I heard it yesterday, I was like, dang, I already had pre-written the description of an episode.
Mind you, I am unprepared for all of these sessions.
Yep.
So they're very random off the top of his head. So, submitting an application. I'm going to since you picked the topic, I'll let you start. And then maybe I could try to piggyback off it. Or am I already on the right track?
You already basically what we just listened to put us on a...
So, okay, with the couple.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, yeah. I do think our application it started probably short. But I think we've lengthened it and done more detail over time.
Well, my application was deep.
Yeah, your application was like marriage ready before you even came to say, "Hey, is there an opening here?" So, it was.
And the reason why.
Again, your take on relationships, you were like, God showed you, ahead of time.
It was a potential job opportunity.
Yeah. So, we don't think ourselves less as to say that we're jobs or a piece of work, but just to say that
looking at
being
the
in
structure,
a relationship is work.
And in order for the job to be successful, the company to be successful,
the employees have to listen to the boss, and then the employees have to clock in on time and all of the above. So we make it a daily application. It's not just every 6 months, every year when we get our raise evaluation.
I often say
we do raises and evaluations in our relationship too. But like I said, our first application, his was like contractually detailed and ready to go from you the one to I'm gonna marry you. It were no in betweens. I was more so I had lots of questions. And
you don't know.
I questioned your resume a lot.
You didn't submit.
But in the process,
you didn't submit the application. Have you submitted an application yet? I don't think you have submitted. I don't think you submit. You bring your resume and then you take it back.
No, Oh, you like my resume. You were like, oh, okay. I was checking off all the boxes
I had to steal it
for your interview. No.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah. I requested a resume. You didn't submit it yourself. Yeah. I felt like
I didn't know I was applying for a job.
You wasn't. I just thought maybe you I came to you. You know how some jobs like, hey, I think you'd be a great fit for this position.
That's not happening very often, but when it does happen, it is like, oh wow, I must be special. But yeah.
But like they stated in the thing, and I've told you this plenty of times over and over again because we have this conversation a lot. Mm-hmm. And you know, I hate to put the little relationship group that we're in on blast, but
there are a lot of relationship groups that we're in that aren't really like just.
And it's not saying it's a bad thing. It's just some of the.
They don't always portray the truth of love and relationships.
Yeah, cause you
these cliche and
the past thing,
one-sided stereotype, typical. I mean, but that's what a resume is. It's a lineup of your past. Even if you're applying for a job, it is your past experience, what you've been through, what makes you qualified for the current job you're applying for.
And if you're sitting up here, like a lot of us, we do kind of exaggerate on some applications in order to get this great position. And then when you get this position, you find out that you're not qualified for because you basically lied on the application. A lot of us are doing it either as in lying about who we are or not being honest on who we are. Mm-hmm. And I think,
makes it hard to get to know who you're with. Makes it hard to know who you are. And it makes it hard for you to perform your job because now you have to live up to expectations that you haven't even experienced, and that's okay though, but I mean, just you haven't been honest about it. You haven't been open about it in the beginning.
So, like, for an example, you know, I had this, as we call a vacation plan. And
the big setup.
Yeah. And so, you know, I've never, even with my 13-year previous marriage, never like seriously just had a one-on-one vacation with a person that I was attracted to. You know, 40-some years old, and I'm like, well, I was 39 then. 38 then. It was like, I'm getting older and I haven't really spent no time with someone of the opposite sex that I'm attracted to romantically. And this has to stop here. And I had all these plans and I'm ready for it. And then God says, well, you know you can't take this trip because you know that you really like this person and it's just time to just have just a deep conversation about flaws and all. And I'm like, what? Really? Nah, you know, because it's going to damper everything.
But it was good, though, because you were the same age my ex was when I started dating him. He was 37, 38. And I wasn't as cautious. My short resume, I let that be what it was. And so you came along and I was like, oh man, don't let me up and do the same thing I did before again. So
yeah, but it kind of worried because you're like, nah, you ain't got to tell me everything, will it?
Yeah, just don't give it to me all at once.
Yeah, you know,
take our time.
And I think that's what people mess up at. And because again, with this group, I see that a lot when folks, well, they passed, ain't got nothing to do with me, it was before me. But in the long run, we have triggers that stem from those pasts. And so, which that's something we came across a couple of times, triggers for myself that I didn't know exists until you did something unconsciously, not on purpose to hurt me or anything.
I still do it.
Yeah, I know you do. But again, it was one of those things where, as I explained to you, that I can ask you or talk to you about that trigger, but it's still my trigger. Mm-hmm. I have to get over it regardless of me saying, hey, that bothers me.
But so long as you bring it to me and don't keep it to yourself and be harboring and brewing thoughts and
yeah, you know, so
at the end of the day,
I'm killing myself.
I think you've been cheating on me anyway. Yeah, or
and then I tell you I ain't like that, and then he's still doing it.
And I'm looking at you like, I have never heard this before in my life. Where did this come from?
Yes.
And then you're like, oh, so this is probably one of those questions on the resume I should have asked.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, so what does this mean?
So yeah, I couldn't go on my vacation like I want. I was basically had a argument with God about, come on, because if I sit and tell her how many times I've tripped and failed, then she ain't gonna want to go on a trip with me.
And I think this was after the just take it slow and really build a friendship conversation I had with you.
Yeah.
And we were, you know, you were ready for next step, and I was not ready for next step.
But I don't think the vacation was me doing it. It was just really.
No, was just you wanted me to go.
Yeah, and that's really what it was. And when enjoy. Yeah, it was just enjoyment.
But for me, it felt really serious because you were like going to meet your family, and I was like, we've been on a couple of dates. I like you, but I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. And so, you know, yeah, it was like, I don't know. I asked my girlfriend, and she was like, "Girl, you better go. That man like you." And I was like, "Yeah, I get that, but I don't really know him like that. What if he take me up here and he try and, you know, murder me or kill me or something?"
So,
you know?
hence again,
I don't know nothing about him and his past like that.
And I think that's why God was hitting me upside the head like he did. It either can go either way. You can sit and tell your truth, and either it just dissolves and not even stay as friends, or you can at least be still friends, or it can create something great. And I think that's what it did. I know it created something great.
I don't even like you.
You see, you better stop saying that. You ain't gonna say, all right, so you don't like them? Okay.
No, I don't.
Okay. All right.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know why you don't like me.
You be pushing me out my box.
You need to be pushed out your box. Both of us.
I'm a little homebody. I just stay in my own little square.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We'll be
so
like,
yeah,
want to Maximoff and expand your box.
That was like for us the start of a new set of applications. Because after we got back, we had to reevaluate.
I actually think we did some evaluations while we was gone.
Yeah, while we were on this, we was like, okay, so what does this mean going forward?
Yeah.
And I think we eventually came to the conclusion, even afterwards, that, you know, even if we don't continue to pursue a relationship or anything after this, you know, we are friends. I'm here for you, supportively,
we became
regardless.
Business partners. And we actually became friends, business partners before, you know, you took being in a relationship with me serious.
Yeah, I think I had to get a couple more applications, questions answered. I had to do some more observation to make sure he was a good fit for the job.
90-day probation period.
He had submitted his application and his resume, so I had to just check out his references and everything. And visiting your family was to check off of family references. It was
Yeah. My brother was kind of...
Your brother, your aunt. Surprisingly, your family is very open. So they were kind of... They weren't... I didn't feel judged or anything like that. They didn't ask me no weird questions or...
Yeah, I kind of felt like that with your folks, too, though. And that's the other thing. You know, you really wasn't ready for me to meet your folks, neither. And that...
No, so that process was like, whoo... that was not on my checklist of things. You know how you do your first interview? And I did not plan for how he met my parents. That was supposed to be his first interview. It did not go as planned at all. It actually was like, not supposed to happen that way.
No, it wasn't supposed to happen at all.
So I was at my grandmother's house, which is around the corner from, you know, his family's house, which is ironic too. Yep. That we kind of grew up in like, the same neighborhood, and we just never crossed each other's paths. And I left my charger at your house, and I was like, hey, look, my phone's dying, and I'm around the corner at my grandma's. Can you swing it by real quick? And
I was like, you sure? Because you don't want me to meet your folks. Ain't you with your folks? Like, just bring it by.
Just bring it by. I run out to the yard and get it. So, I don't know. I don't even know how my mom and dad got outside.
Y'all was already outside when I got there.
Yeah, but see, we were in the house at first. So, again, I don't remember.
Did they know you was on the phone?
I think my uncle pulled up and they walked outside.
Gotcha.
And so, because you met everybody.
Yeah.
He met my grandma, my uncle, my mom and dad.
Started walking to the car.
They were like, yeah, so who this is? Pretty much like, hey, let me check him out. And, I was like, oh, no.
You were so uncomfortable.
I wasn't ready.
It was the funniest thing ever. You were so uncomfortable.
So it was like, woo.
You were so uncomfortable.
And I do think we called each other after, like, so that was quite interesting.
Because your dad was just talking and you had to look on your
Yeah, they were
like,
asking, well, who your folks is? And I was like, my people were pretty aggressive. They were asking questions. And,
yeah.
And
but come to find out, your folks grew up with my folks.
Yeah, which was also awkward. But I mean, things happen. So
it was one of those. I honestly feel
but
like
again, it made it easier for them to say, "Oh well, yeah, his folks are good people." He come from a good family background. We ain't got no quarrels with them, which was good. And I guess that helped me with my reassurance and saying, "Okay, cool." And I think the second time you met my parents, they were more receptive. I think even still.
That's that day I tried to sneak them flowers on your porch.
Yeah.
That was like the next day, actually.
It was a couple of days.
No, that was the next day. It was literally, it was that Sunday.
So what made you try to sneak? Okay,
I was just doing it.
You were just, okay, so he likes to surprise me with things randomly. And so he was bringing me flowers because I love flowers. He's bringing me some flowers. And his intention was to sneak, put him on the porch, knock on the door, and run away.
Put him on the back porch.
He was going to put him on the back porch, but the kids were outside playing, and I was inside talking to my mom and dad. And my mom was like, a car just went by real slow. What?
And she looked out the back window.
And then she looked out the back window and saw him. And then by the time we looked around, he had done ran to the front porch, dropped the flowers, and was trying to run to his car. And he got busted because I came out the door. I was like, what the hell? I look up and I was like, what are you doing here? And he was just like,
do you know somebody out here? You know somebody else out here?
I think you said,
I was
making a delivery. He wasn't making no delivery. He was putting them flowers on my porch trying to woo me. But yeah, so I think he was trying to, again, beef up his resume some more.
Yeah, because like the funniest thing is because your dad was putting up the antenna, and I had when they got some cables. I just miraculously had cables at my house that he needed, and I brought them back. And again,
second interview checked out well.
Yeah, because I randomly got her dad over to the side and said, "Hey, this may sound crazy, but
and I just met her.
Yeah, but I want to pre-ask you about your daughter's hand in marriage." And he looked at me and said, "Oh, yeah, you good. You cool. That's all right with me."
My daddy just gave me away before I even had a chance to say, I like this dude. I think he might be good potential. Daddy just passed me all on. So I was no longer the CEO of my relationship. I'm just an employee, and the boss said, "Yeah, you're good. You can work in that department." So, and I think we've done well. We constantly reevaluate and making sure we get these raises on a quarterly basis.
I think that's very important to reevaluate, something that a lot of people don't do. They just couldn't. And because it's a form of saving.
Because, and it's like performance based. Just making sure we're on task, like with a job. Once you get the job and you get hired, you know,
you can get a little complacent.
Yeah, you can get complacent. You know, making sure that, you know, you check in and say, hey, look, am I meeting the goals of the company? Yeah. Just like, am I meeting the goals in the relationship? Or am I doing what's necessary to make you happy? Or you doing what's necessary to make me happy? Are we happy together? Are we working towards a common goal to buy a house? Or what are we going to do about business this month? Or, you know, it's just, hey, how are your feelings? Just check in with your feelings. Are you feeling okay? Physically, mentally, emotionally? Have I done something to make you feel uncomfortable? I mean, pet peeves, things that bothers me. I mean, we gonna get it together one day. He gonna remember to lock the back door.
So, yeah. And this actually goes into also the submitting. The application runs into submission, and that was
on a daily basis.
And that was the other part that I wanted to express in this episode. That's something again that we just listened to on the service, which
submission to service.
I'm thinking about.
We can make it a series if you want to.
Yeah, well, we can.
A short, 3 segment series.
Yeah. Because I wanted to, if I was to download that and clip that and probably add it to that. Because I spoke with someone Sunday, getting my hair cut, a fellow female of my barber, well, his sister, and she expressed something that I believe in, and it's just my opinion as well, that submission is grand, is great, and people take the definition literally as in submitting as slavery form, and submitting when it comes to a relationship, a marriage, a true marriage, is, if done right, the man is the one that's serving his woman correctly, which and vice versa, which allows both to submit energy to each other, and it goes back and forth. And if done correctly, it can be something very playful, versus you looking at it as in, oh, it's a duty, of a sense of, oh, I gotta do what he say, and or the man's like, oh, I'm providing this potential service of taking care of the bills and whatnot, and you do what I say. And I think that's the miscommunication of the whole thing.
I mean, because, we have a bit different of a dynamic, you know. You don't work physically like a 9-to-5 job, but I do. Yeah. And so, we just do an exchange of submission. It's not like, I may be the breadwinner or the one who brings the majority of the money home, but he's still man of the house. We still make decisions together. You know, we submit together to make those decisions. Hey, how you feel about so and so and so, and we try to agree to work together, and we submit to serve, like, every day. Hey, what can I do for you today? Or, hey, what time you go to work today? And he may make sure that I have everything I need for work to get to work on time. And I make sure that I'm, out of the way so he can do whatever it is he needs to do for the day, that's beneficial for the household. It doesn't emasculate him or make him less of a man because I work and he doesn't.
It does not. Society plays a great big part on making a family dynamic worse than what it should be, because roles can change. We play off our strengths versus our shortcomings, which our shortcomings doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. I think we bring a good balance of each other when it comes to our shortcomings, and the only reason for that is because we talk, we communicate. Communicating is very, very important. And if we didn't know about each other's past, and it's something that is stated, and I've said it too,
right,
that where we may have laid out our past is the way we did, but we may come back later on and be talking about something. Oh crap! I didn't say that. I didn't give you that.
I didn't think of it that way.
Dang, you know what? I forgot my story when I was 17 and I fell off the tree type thing. Yeah, and that's that part of, because some folks may take it as in, And I may even say, "Oh, no, you ain't tell me like that." And that's something that I tried to explain to my ex-wife. Or you ain't tell me
about that, or, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. You didn't give me that, but, those stories was like extremely different from the very first time it was told. I mean, it was like took on a whole nother body.
Or it'll be like, I'm telling a story and I may leave out a detail or a portion. Sometimes when you trying to recall something, you don't actually recall all the events or whatever, but as you think about it later, you know what, when this was going on, when I was telling you a story about whatever, this happened, I forgot to say this, or it was more like whatever, and it just, I don't know, it just gives us room to kind of be like, oh, okay, now I see why, or I can understand that better. Why you might have reacted that way or not that way.
But so. Like his wife, when she was like, oh, I'm finna run him away.
Not to say run you away, but just to like.
But that's how a lot of people.
I'm a little crazy.
But a lot of people look at it.
Things, and I mean, I don't mind submitting, but I ain't finna submit to no bull crap, and I'm not finna to tolerate no mess.
So that's what comes in at. Oh, so I tell you my flaws, and you run. What does that really say about you at the end of the day?
That I'm afraid to submit, and that I'm afraid to try and serve you, to help you,
or even just try to understand,
be a friend of understanding, and understanding. Yeah, that's a lack of self-confidence on my part. If I say, "Oh, well, he got too many issues, I don't want to deal with that," and I run the other way.
Yeah, and now, not saying that you shouldn't run from someone.
If you just know that, hey, I ain't gonna be able to tolerate that. Yeah.
Now that, no. Yeah. I'm not giving out permission for you to promote your negativity. Yeah. So if a person comes to tell you to pass that, well, I used to beat the crap out of all my previous's, and I'm different now. You really seriously before
that's one of them. You're gonna have to submit a new resume. I'm gonna have to
look at you for all first before.
We're gonna have to do an extensive background check.
Yeah.
So how many of the incidents were reported or not?
Yeah.
So how do you feel about submission? So since what was the cause of you whipping
people?
I got questions.
Yeah, and I think, and that was the thing that his sister was saying. I got questions. You trying to talk to me? We finna talk.
Yeah.
And people are afraid that instant gratification.
Friendship is submission too, if you really think about it at the end of the day. I mean, you submitting to loving them and being compassionate and being there for them when they need you the most. Yeah. Accepting their flaws and all. It's ain't no way around it.
Yeah.
You submit every day when you go clock in on the clock. Hey, I'm gonna let them be my overhead and pay me, and I'm gonna work for them today.
Well, that's how I feel about relationships. When you get ready to go to sleep, you're clocking out of the marriage, somewhat
temporarily.
Yeah, and then when you wake up in the morning, it's time to go to work.
Yeah, resubmit that application. Good morning, punch the clock. Go fix my damn coffee. Not just.
Oh dang, it's raining.
Yeah, it's been raining for a minute now.
Oh.
But yeah, we are going to expound more on the, because he ain't going to let me not get away with it. I'm going to be prepared.
Yeah.
On the submission, the application, and the daily services of a relationship. So.
Yeah, this is a bonus track, so it's not going to, it's not scheduled for a Saturday release, so it's probably a drop in any moment. So when you're listening to this, it may be the same day of being recorded or a couple of days later. So I make up my mind. But
either way, how do you feel about submission? What's your take on it,
And
seriously though,
are you submitting your application every time that you're dating? And don't be scared to submit an application or request
a copy
of their resume from that person that you.
And you should ask questions. So,
yes.
What were your duties?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How did you respond to certain situations? Because, hey, this is work.
Mm-hmm. So you trying to submit applications for my man?
It takes work to make it work.
What is your description as a man? A head of house. So.
Check it out.
Yep. Well, you guys have a great day, and thank you. Bye.